Ladies, gentlemen, and often forgotten, but most certainly not by me, Mopar fans, welcome to the channel. Let's be clear here. I don't think Germany is the best country in the world, but they do have the Autobahn. Conversely, the age of consent is also 14, so... You're entitled to your own opinion, and if you think that your wife's boyfriend's second cousin deserves this car more than me, then so be it. Doesn't make you right. But there's plenty of pressure washing videos and people mowing on YouTube, so just... This started out as a joke in early 2020 between my buddy Scott and I, and turned into reality in a Tuesday in October. So I've idolized Dan Gurney for as long as I can remember. I watch the shit out of all of InWiki's and Ed's and Doug's videos. So this was a dream that eventually I was able to do. And realistically, it's the most fun I've ever had. We left Indianapolis at about 11 o'clock. We got to New York at about 8:30, got into the city at about 9, got to the garage at about 9:30, and took some pictures. The guy kind of questioned me when I got out of the car. He's like, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm taking a picture. This is kind of an iconic place." And he said, "Well, for what?" "Well, it's, you know, if you can get from point A to point B as fast as possible, that's cool." And that just went straight over his head. So the Lincoln Tunnel was pretty uneventful. And realistically, we got through Jersey and Pennsylvania pretty okay. Ohio was okay, Indiana was okay, but as soon as we crossed over the border from Indiana to Illinois, we noticed a huge uptick in traffic, and you never want to pass anybody like an asshole in these situations, especially not truckers, so we slowed down and saw some weird movement in the oncoming lane, kind of saw some lights shut off and turn towards us, so I smacked the brakes as hard as I could. And sure enough, some berries and cherries got popped behind us and pulled over, and a 2020 Explorer Interceptor came up behind us and ended up being an Illinois state sheriff. He asked us a couple questions like, "What's the hurry?" and "What's all this gasoline doing back here?" And if I have one skill, it's bullshitting. So we shot the shit with the cop, we're respectful, and he handed me a ticket for $125 and a $70. Then he kindly explained he was going to escort us to the Iowa border. At that point, any hope of a record was out the window. It's weird though, we had a laser detector, radar detector that never went off. Hi, baby. We kind of assume he just wrote down a number and an arbitrary speed that he thought we were going. So from Indy to Colorado, it took about 12 hours, which is respectable, but not the record-setting pace we were looking for. We got an opportunity for a pit stop in the mountains of Utah because we ran out of gas. Note to self, 100% throttle through the mountains screws with the fuel economy numbers on the dash a little bit. The car shut off, cresting a hill in Utah, and I ended up waking my buddy up and joked that we needed to do a running pit stop and just have him hang out the window, which obviously didn't happen. Don't worry. We got to a roadside overlook. It's called Black Dragon Wash, and fueled up and took some pictures and headed out. So with no hope of a record, we decided to make this the fastest sightseeing tour we could. So we ended up stopping in Vegas. My buddy won a couple $100. It was his first time doing live gambling, so I guess beginner's luck. And if you're on the Strip, why not cruise the Strip? Wow. All right, slow the fuck down. After that, we headed to LA. We had a buddy that was meeting us at the Portofino to kind of show us around town. And I texted him when we got back to the car and said, "Hey, we'll see you in a couple hours." He joked and said, "Yeah, it's a 4-hour drive and there's LA traffic. You're not going to make it here." We made it in 2.5 hours. So we on the way, it got foggier and foggier, and we started playing with an M something or other. I don't know the difference between the 2, the 4, the 6, the 8. We got to the parking lot of the Portofino about 5:30 a.m. and met our buddy there. We ended up getting some donuts and doing some sightseeing around LA. On our way back east, we stopped at the Shelby Museum because it was closed at night last time we were there. And for shits and giggles, we looked up how far away the Salt Flats were because, again, might as well make it a sightseeing tour. And so we headed up north to the flats. I'd never been, he'd never been, so this was a whole new experience for everybody. And that is the weirdest surface ever. It's like if you're driving on a s'more. So accelerating was hard, driving straight was hard, braking was butt puckering. The salt got everywhere, got in the dampers, got in the springs, got in the end links, so it was making some crazy noises after a couple runs. So after leaving the flats, we headed straight back to Indianapolis and got there at Friday at about 8 p.m., just in time for our Halloween party. And it was, as near as makes no difference, 6,000 miles in 3 days.